literary service agency converted into a book club to sustain the culture of reading among working professionals. We started off with 10 members, which has now grown to 250 plus, inclusive of authors, publishers, and academicians. Apart from reading, the community caters to self care, filmy businesses, and even K pop lovers. It is more of a culture that EBC tries to establish over anything materialistic. We'll just wait for 2 minutes for Lavanya ma'am to join in, so it'll be much easier to go ahead with the session.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, I guess that would be better. Else she'll be, missing out many things.
Exactly. We'll
And
just wait for
yeah.
some. Welcome, Lavanya ma'am.
Hi, am I
Hi.
audible?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Okay, cool.
So I guess we can start the session, Kirti.
Yeah, let's start the session.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to Prose and Pixels presented by Elegant Book Club. EBC was started in 2020 as a promotional and literary service book club. It converted into a book club to sustain the culture of reading among working professionals. We started off with 10 members, which has now grown to 250 plus, inclusive of authors, publishers, and academicians. Apart from reading, the community caters to self care, filmy businesses, and K pop lovers. It is more of a culture that EBC tries to establish over anything materialistic. Today, we are going to discuss about the challenges of writing romance novels inclusive of diverse relationships and cultural norms. As a writer, many face hurdles to write a story, some of which are writer's block, timelines, etc. But there are other challenges they face with the diverse relationships and cultural norms. Example, live-in relationships, LGBTQ, and many more. Today, we are going to discuss a few of these and know how our speakers deal with these scenarios. But before we start, let's introduce our speakers of the day. With us, we have Reshmi Sujesh. She is the author of Megha's Autumn Equation and the Case Files of Anvesha Krishnamurti. She is a certified certified senior program manager and believes learning is the key to building competency. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
We also have Lavanya Krishnamurti, author of I Prescribe Love and Time and Tide Wait for Love. She is a doctor by profession and a writer by passion. A romantic at heart, she believes that next to love, words are the most inexhaustible source of magic. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Hi, I'm very glad to be here as well.
Thank you, ma'am. And we also have with us Suchi Batra, the author of Million Times Over and You Belong With Me. She believes that words not only express emotions but also provide relief from pain. Her first novel, A Million Times Over, is a unique love story told in the form of poems. It was published in 2021 and became a bestseller. She is a banker by profession. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Start. So let's discuss the challenges we face while writing as well as reading the romance novels. Uh, my first question goes to Rashmi, ma'am. According to you, what are the difficulties faced while writing or also reading an LGBTQ story in the Indian context?
Okay, so let me give a disclaimer here. So basically, I write for children, right? So I write generally for middle graders and young adults. So, and I'm also a mother to a teenager. She's 18 years old. So one of the challenges, or in fact, even I have faced that, right? So when she would bring up topics that she wants to read, and perhaps I will not be comfortable in her reading that topic because I may not be matured enough to understand what the story is because, I may not have read about that particular gender identities. And it is through her I understood the different gender identities. And it's because I opened up, I had an open mind to listen to my daughter and understand, what are the books available, what are the different gender identities. And that is where I'm not sure if parents are more keen to open up with a discussion with the children to understand, okay, such and such things are there, there are people like this, and they are just normal as rest of us are, and there are stories which depict their life, the environments that they go about. And it's important that we have stories which resonate uh, with the general public. And I think that is a general challenge that I have seen as a children's author and as a parent, where most of the parents are not open up. Maybe they don't understand, or they are not open to understand, and maybe they are not very keen to have that conversation with their children for them to read such books. Yeah, that would be my take.
So basically, we all should be open-minded to accept the LGBTQ stories that are being written and read. So, thank you, ma'am. Lavanya, ma'am, your views on this, ma'am. Ma'am, you're not audible, ma'am. You'll have to unmute.
Sorry. Yeah. What about now?
Yeah, your views on this, the LGBTQ
Yeah.
stories, the difficulties of writing an LGBTQ story.
I feel mainly there are two things here, right? First, when we talk about LGBTQ, there is a lot of knowledge gap because, in the sense, as writers, we are very used to expressing romance from a male point of view, feelings of a man towards a woman and a woman towards a man. But we are not exactly used to, or rather we don't do it that commonly, expressing the feelings of a man towards a man and a woman towards a woman. So that I feel is something that is one of the challenges, that we need to understand how to express the desires and emotions properly in such a scenario, especially especially when it comes to writing romances. That is one thing. And that's where I feel that as writers, we need to, read some more books on the LGBTQ scenario in about LGBTQ romances and try to understand how to express the emotions properly. And also, it's when we write romance novels, it's very, the intimate scenes are very important. They form an important part of the book. So that is also an area where we do have a knowledge gap as far as LGBTQ is concerned. I think everyone will agree with me on that.
Yes.
So that is another place where, I feel we need to improve what we know by reading more novels of such kind. So that I feel is one of the challenges. And the second one would be like, whether my book will gain acceptance from the readers. Yeah, because that is ultimately what any author wants. So you write a book and you want it to sell well. You want it to gain acceptance from the readers. So the question that will be coming to an author's mind will be, if I write about this topic, will my reader pick up the book? Will my reader like the story? Will he or she be able to relate to it? And will it find acceptance? So these two, I feel, are the two major challenges that as an author, especially as a romance author, one would face while, writing LGBTQ stories.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I can just, relate to it, like the way you're talking about the acceptance. It is very important because from the society that we are coming, and to explore our liking towards something like this, it does take time. So I'm sure it is quite challenging for
Yeah.
an author to find it acceptable for their book. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
My next question is to Suchi, ma'am. Ma'am, do you think books with LGBTQ romance has changed the society for better?
Yes, I totally believe that. So I grew up in India, even in metropolitan city that is Delhi. Still, I remember till I was there, I was around 22, 23, and I could feel that LGBTQ at that time was still seen as a taboo. Like now and at that time, I remember that some of the friends I kind of had little hint that maybe they are gays or maybe they are lesbians, but still there wasn't such an acceptance, and it wasn't a topic that was freely discussed in our society. But as you know, like now we are in 2024, and not only the books but the major part is the media, the videos. Even I'll say Netflix. Like if you watch a series in Netflix, almost every other series will try to include LGBTQ characters so that there can be a diversity. So because of all these things, I do believe that I cannot say that a lot of people have changed, but I can still feel that there is a significant shift in the thoughts. Like, for instance, some of my friends who had very rigid thinking, if I would have discussed the same topic about LGBTQ in like 10 years before, they would be not even open to talk about that. They would be like, why are we even talking? This is a disease, and these people should go to doctor, they should eat medicine, and blah blah blah. And now, because people are like, society has started a little bit of society has started accepting. And you won't believe that I personally have couple of friends who came out as gays or lesbians, and they sometimes tell me that the biggest part was like uh, like the movies or the books that have come in, so their parents also started to see, and they some of them were able to understand that no, it's not a disease. These people also have feelings. This is something that you cannot change. This is something that you are born with, and everyone can make a decision that irrespective of gender, who he or she wants to. So I really feel, and like for last 10 years I have been living in Dubai and US, and I see this society, and it is very open. So in India we are still at LNG. BTQ is still very nascent, but over here I have seen like even LGBTQ. Other than that, also there are certain terms: binary, non-binary, asexual, bisexual, and so many things. And when I entered here, when I came here, my mind was also like till LGBTQ. But over here, I met so many diverse people, and now my mind is like so expanded. I started to learn, and I really feel that India also becomes one of that society soon. And I really think that books slowly will change the society for the better.
Yes. So there has been a lot of change because initially we didn't have books with these topics, and now at least bringing these books has changed our mindset, and uh, we have started accepting LGBTQ in our society as well. So it's all thanks to the books and the videos or the shows that we see. Thank you, ma'am. Uh, my next question is to Lavanya ma'am. Ma'am, do you think that too much spice or smut in any romance novel loses the charm of romance, the charm of romance, that the meeting and doing something for the other one? So do you think it is like that?
Yes, I do feel so to a certain extent. So, romance is not, just about the intimate scenes and the smut. I agree it is a very essential part, and it needs to be portrayed well and everything. But there are so many aspects to love and romance. As you correctly said, the first meet, the emotions that one feels, and how the feelings evolve over time, from friends to lovers or from enemies to lovers. That transition of feelings is simply a very beautiful thing, and you cannot compromise that by putting in extra smut. I really don't feel that does justice to any romance novel. Yes, erotic scenes are needed, but they should not be the major part of the book. They should be just a part of the book, and all other aspects of the romance must definitely be given equal importance as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very well said. We all love romance, but yeah, sometimes books do have too much of smut, which goes away from the storyline, and then the romance loses its charm. Thank you. Uh, Rashmi ma'am, do you think strong FMCs have brought a change in the real life of women? Like, what challenges does a writer face while writing a strong female character?
Yeah, I think definitely it has brought in change. Now you can see, you know, diversity, because now diversity and inclusion, as we, rest of the authors spoke here, it's become an important norm, and having women being portrayed in books and movies and series. If you see, everywhere they talk about, okay, this is a women oriented story or a women oriented book, right? And when I say about challenge, I think women are getting into different fields, and now it is people are looking at, from a woman from a career oriented person or a homemaker or whatever hats that she is wearing, right? So when I look at a challenge, if I say, is there may be some areas that, I don't know, some movies would still look at portraying, a male chauvinist role, and how they are, and that sort of clicks with the audience, right? There are movies that we have seen that, still audience like it, and we sometimes wonder why the society we are in still 2024 and still people are enjoying such movies. But that's a reality, right? And so there are audiences who like such movies, who are reading such books where women, are not being portrayed as the way she has to be, right? And sometimes authors are also feeling, if they would write such perspective, maybe that would sell more. I don't know. Maybe that is another reason of not portraying a strong character of a woman, right? So, but otherwise, I think when I look at it, I think from a young adult, if I talk about from a children, young adult literature, I think there are very, very strong characters of teenagers doing so many things around the world, right? So if you look at beautiful characterization of Fault in the Stars or, Sun is also a star, right? So those are characters which teenagers would look up to, and even if you look at the Indian literature, there are a lot of teenagers who stand out in the stories. Okay, so whatever Shabnam Minwala writes or Antali Wajid writes, so these are characters of teenagers who are 15, 16, 17 who stand out, and I think they are doing a great job in letting our teenagers know that yeah, they do can bring out a change in the society, and there are strong uh, teenagers or female, girls who can do well. Yeah, so I have to switch between children's literature.
Yes. So, do you think, ma'am, that you just spoke about having strong females and they are writing male characters in such a way, you can say like alpha male characters. So, does writing alpha male characters have a negative impact on the society?
Because there are some teenagers who get like I have seen experiences of my daughter's friends. There are some children who get interested to such characters,
Yeah.
even though, and there are other girls who said, how come you are liking this character? But they say, no, he's cute or he's nice, but you can't deny the fact that there are teenagers who like such characters, and they might go along with the crowd. Most of the girls, their friends are recommending, you have to read such books, and they might get drawn towards it. And the other aspect could be that what are they seeing in their environment? If they see that their mothers or their aunts are being treated in such a way, and they see that it is okay in their environment, maybe that's the conditioning that they have been brought up, right? And they might tend to accept that, okay, this behavior is fine in the stories, and they wouldn't see anything wrong with that, right? So yeah, that is what I think. So when teens read such books of alpha male. Yeah, because I'm trying to restrict my conversation because I generally don't read romance. So what I know from a children's or teen author, I'm talking from that perspective.
Also, as a parent,
Also as a parent, yeah.
which is, it helps us also. Um, so, Chimam, what are your views on writing the alpha male characters? That if do they have a negative impact on the youth as such?
Yes, I totally believe that if I am portraying a character who's an alpha male, it will, why? Because, like, if you are an author and you are writing a novel which has the power to influence a lot of people around you, and generally, mostly, I have seen that the romance writers, their novels are targeted towards very young people, and
Mm.
they are still not that much matured that they can that they have already formed their opinion, so they are still in the process. Like, for example, like for instance, my both the books, it is targeted for people who are between the age 16 to 33, 34. But the majority, 80% of the people, I think would be from 16 to 23, 24. And if I start writing give a, like about alpha male, so that has the power to negatively influence the audience, because they are still very very young, and that can become, like, sometimes just for to get some fame or just to get some buzz around your book. People use such strategies, and but they don't understand. So they only, some of the authors, they only care that, okay, if I'm writing this, I might become a bestseller, or they're like, because sometimes, any publicity is a good publicity for any, like an author or an actor or something. But they don't understand that the negative influence, the negative effect, that will bring to these people. So I really like, so when I am doing a character development, even if my script would demand that, but I would refrain myself, because I don't want to set wrong examples for the youth of our country, that it is okay to be an alpha male. And so I feel very, very cautious, that what kind of characters I am building, because these characters, because I have seen, like, a lot of people, because they are so young and they are reading, they express their raw emotions. Like, if I go on Amazon or Instagram and read their reviews, like, so many times, I never, like, when I was writing it, I didn't think from that way, the way these guys are interpreting. So then I have to be very cautious, because these are still very young minds. So I feel that is the challenge. And even if it is not an alpha male, I would also not prefer to write about alpha female because that's not something that I would prefer. Like, so I feel that writers also have a challenge and a responsibility. Yeah.
Thank you. So, um, Lavanya ma'am, what do you think brought in the change in stories from, like before we had the damsel in distress and now we have the strong, sassy, fiery, confident woman. So, what brought that change? Though I know it's a large, this we are talking about, like time zone that we are talking about for the change that has happened. But what brought that change?
Um, from how I have been reading books, I started noticing a change with these, young adult novels, basically. So most of these young adult novels, like they started off with very strong female leads. So I'm not sure whether that is what exactly brought about a change, but it was definitely something very different, something we had not seen before. So they had a very good, plot line, background, and everything, and these females did not need anybody to save them. So it actually, honestly speaking, it even, kind of, some books kind of even blew my mind, like, wow, they're like, these females are so strong, why cannot actually people, think like that in real life. So I said young adult because that is what brought about a change in my thinking, at one point in time. So I feel that many such books such change might have most probably started with young adult novels. That is just purely my opinion. Although, as you said, the timeline is very broad.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what other books come under this category, but young adult, definitely yes, a big yes.
But we are really lucky that this change has happened because we have been, as you said, reading more books with the damsel in distress, and now that
Yes.
we read books like this, I feel it boosts our confidence also, and it makes us feel that yes, we can do something.
Exactly. And I think after young adult novels have come, as such, I myself have started reading more books which are women centric and have been written by female authors. So, again, I feel that could also be a positive impact these novels have had.
Yes, it definitely does. Rashmi ma'am, do you think that now that AI has taken over a lot of things, what kind of change we would see in regards to writing, not only romance, with romance or any writing as such, what kind of change do we expect in the future?
I think we have already seen that, right? Like I read some articles where, a person came up with a book in 30 minutes, where he got the AI to write. He just gave a prompt and it came up with a children's story and the images, and the book was ready in 30 minutes. So even though he wanted to write that particular book for his friend's daughter, it sort of had a huge backlash, when he published that particular storybook, right? People were saying, okay, these are just AI has taken over. It's not that you have put in your creative effort, right? So AI has given you the story, the pictures have been generated by the AI, and there's nothing that you have contributed. So I think you can hate or love AI, but you can't ignore AI. AI is already arrived, right? And we are going to see more of authors, publishers, editors going to use it, and I think the creative aspect should always, and I hope it will, should always stay with the author, right? So in terms of proofreading or editing, which things that we can take help, that should definitely, AI can still help out. But if you give that to the AI, I think we it's like the end of the creativity. So
Exactly.
I hope that all authors, writers have a responsibility, to make sure that we use AI, at a level that it needs to be used, right? So the creativity should still lie with us, and I'm sure in the coming future people are going to use AI in a more much bigger extent than we currently have, because they are getting used to it. They are trying to understand which all areas that AI can still be used. So it's still, there's a learning curve there. But yeah, I think we should not, the creative aspect should always be with the writers and authors. We should not leave it to the AI to, never. I hope that we don't get it to that state.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure the AI cannot put in the emotions a writer puts in. So, yes, eh, apart from creativity, it's the emotions which we, feel that the author has
Exactly.
put in.
Yeah, a machine cannot replace a human emotions, right? And I hope that, yeah, so that's what it is, right? So no matter how you train that machine, I think it can never replace a human's feelings or emotions.
Yes, ma'am. Suchi, ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, your opinion whether the Gen Z prefers practical endings or happily ever afters? The current generation is more practical, or like before, we always preferred a happily ever after. So,
So yes, I thought that these guys are much more practical than millennials. I'm a millennial, but recently I have been proven very wrong, because a lot of reviews, because we are doing a lot of collaboration, and a lot of posts goes around on Instagram, and recently there was one reel that got kind of viral. It was about my book. One book, Booksta Grammar, had made. It had some 50,000 shares, and I got like to see a lot of comments. And I can say almost 90% of Gen Z people were asking, does it have an HEA? Does it have an HEA?
okay.
Because, and I personally asked, like, why are you saying so? Like, I always thought that Gen Z would be is more cool. They prefer so. A lot of people reached out to me via DM, and they said that yes, we are practical, but in reality, all we have experienced is sad love story, cheating, and betrayal, everything. So, and they feel they told that reading is a safe space for them. So they really feel that, okay, if it is like everywhere around them is something very sad happening, okay, but in like you can say that romance for these guys are kind of fantasy. Because if you see my book on Amazon, on the keywords that comes automatically Amazon generates, it has listed my book as romance fantasy. Because that's what so these people are also they also are in opinion that this is our safe place, we want a happy ever ending, we don't want to cry, we don't want to be sad. So my book has some twists also, okay, and at one point it is kind of very sad. So one lady DM, like not lady, one girl, she would be 16, 17, she DM'd me that I cried so much and I haven't read this book after that part. So literally I had to tell her there could be a chance that HEA is waiting for you. So go ahead and do that. So I really believe that we think, but it's just the opposite. That's my opinion because that's what, as per data and trends, I have been receiving. So I could be totally wrong. Maybe those people who read my book only prefer happily ever after, and the remaining Gen Z are still very practical. But yeah, this is what I have experienced.
That's really great to know, ma'am, that they prefer happily ever afters. Lavanya, ma'am, uh, your opinion on extramarital affair in books.
Okay, that
So,
is
is it okay or it's not okay in books also?
um it is a bit of a controversial topic, but my opinion is that the writer should have creative liberty, to write as they see fit, basically. So it's not like just because we write about an extramarital affair in a book, it doesn't mean we are advocating it. So it is not fair to say that the writer is giving a wrong message, or the writer is saying you should have an affair or something like that. Because there are a lot of movies also which show affairs and a lot of other negative things, and intake of drugs and stuff like that. So that doesn't mean that they are exactly advocating. It is you need to take whatever positive aspects you can from the story and not dwell too much on the other things which are not what do you say, which are not the norm or which are not acceptable. So, but I would feel that when we write romance for a younger age group, it is better to keep it out of the story, because as Reshmi ma'am correctly said, these minds are still being molded. So they might end up thinking it is okay to have an affair on such lines. But when you write for an older audience, a romance, I feel that even if you write about an affair, it is not going to affect the mindset of the person. It is not going to make them change their thinking. So I feel that the writer should be given a creative liberty. It's neither right nor wrong. It is just about the creative liberty of the writer, and he or she should be allowed to write as they feel fit for the storyline and the plot. That is what I feel.
Okay, yeah, that's very true, ma'am. The age criteria with what you told has to be taken into consideration, and yeah, and the plot and storyline if there is a requirement. So yeah, okay, that's a very informative answer, ma'am. Rashmi ma'am, keeping in mind the society norms, how difficult it is to write a single parent romance, if you can just tell us.
Uh, I haven't written like this.
But I'm sure
I
you would have.
I'm just thinking if I have read anything. Okay, I have read a book, a young adult book, When She Went Away by Anjali Vajay. It's a story about a mother leaving a family and goes away, right? And how the family comes to terms that the mother has left. And we come to know that the mother has found interest, or she likes another man and she left the family, right? And what is the perspective of the family when the girl, the teen, comes to know that her mother has taken such a decision, right? So she has taken decision based on certain aspects of what happened in her life. So uh, I think when I read the book, I was like, oh, really? Okay, so I haven't seen or read something that a mother is leaving a family, she has teen children and she has left the family for another man, right? So that was something new to me. So the author, and I was surprised that, there are stories like this coming out, and I think even the publishers are open to taking such stories, right, and get it published, right? So um, I'm sure that the author would have gone through that manuscript many a times to see if this would really click, right? But if you read that story, you can understand it's set in a very contemporary world, right? It's happening right now. So there may be children who are facing it, right? Like one of the parent is leaving the family and finding love outside, finding a partner outside the marriage. So um, I think I may not be the right person to say, okay, what challenges, but I can definitely say that I've read stories like this, and I for sure know that, the author has got influenced or seen some things happening in the society, and that is why she did come about with such a book, right? So yeah.
Mm, thank you, ma'am. Suchi, ma'am, your views on the society norms and how difficult it is to write a single parent romance?
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So single parent romance, keeping in mind, so I have not thought, like I haven't even read anything related to this, but I think I have seen movies related to this. And to be honest, so because my I lost my father when I was 10, so I was raised by a single mom, and I am the only child. So I remember, like, when I would used to see such movies, I was still not very open to this idea. There was something in me, and because I always believed that, you love only once, and
Once.
you marry only once. And it was very, like, uncomfortable, like if such a scene would come, or such a situation or discussion would come. But I believe that, and maybe it could be that my society had trained my brain in such a manner, that no, it's not acceptable and it should not happen. And there are, like, because I remember, like, when you grow up and there is a society around you, and if someone goes in that direction. So I don't remember why I was so, like, my mind was so trained that this is wrong. But it could be, maybe I would have listened to something that that held that made my opinion about this so strong. But yes, when I grew up, I got to realize that no, it is very wrong. And like, they have the right to do whatever they want. They are free now. It's their life. But still, I don't think that as an author I would like to write something about it, because there is still something in my mind that says that, write something safe. I don't want to create a controversy, and I still feel that we Indian as a society are still not very open to this, like, this kind of work. So for instance, if my work would have to be published only in the US or in the Western world, yes, I would take that plunge, because I know there won't be any backlash. People would like it, appreciate it. But still, in India, I also believe that as an author, we, no matter how much we say that yes, there is creativity, there are no boundaries, no, it is not. Authors or directors or whatever, whosoever is in this field, have to follow certain norms of our society. And personally, I believe that I'm such kind of an author. Like, for instance, LGBTQ. So, my first novel, A Million Times Over, it is actually inspired by a couple like lesbian couple. Okay. So, my first thought was that shall I go ahead and publish it as that? But I knew like it won't be accepted. I'm talking about year 2021. And I discussed my idea with my publisher. And straight away, he's like, you don't want to enter that territory. You don't want to get tagged to that because he openly told me that he gave me the stats that there would be still just 5 to 10%, max to max 10% people who identify themselves as an LGBTQ. And if and out of 90% people, you can safely say 50-60% people still do not accept that idea. So you don't want to lose out a lot of chunk of people just because writing about these things. So I believe that I also want to like protect myself. I don't want to get into, even though I am I'm a supporter of these things. I have friends who identify themselves as this. I have friends who, like, for instance, now they are not single parent, but still they are divorced after like 1 year or 2 year, and I'm very open to that idea. But still, I will be very cautious to write about these topics.
Yes, ma'am. As you said, we've been brought up in a society like this, so to still open our minds to all this, I think it will still take time for India to go to that level.
Yes,
Yes,
and I hope we go.
yes, yes. We
Yeah.
have to. So yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's what. As reading is always a safe space for us. We had a really great session, and we enjoyed talking to you. So just before we wrap up, I would like to say that we learned a lot. We gained a lot of knowledge on all the topics on extramarital affairs, live-in relationships, and the LGBTQs. So I would like to thank each one of you for your valuable time. We had a lot of fun chatting, learning from you all, and gaining so much knowledge. I would like to thank our listeners, viewers, for their precious time. I would also like to thank Elegant Book Club for giving me this opportunity to host this wonderful session.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Kirti. Thank you, Kirti. Before ending, I would like to ask a question that I had in my mind to all the three authors. So let us make this a discussion rather than a one-on-one question answering. Okay. So lately, romance field has been receiving a lot of backlash due to many reasons. One primarily being the rise of other important or other vague genres like Indian mythology, LGBTQ, etc. But still, we don't have a proper Indian LGBTQ author yet, which is again a problem. Okay, so maybe that's a loophole that you people can cater in future, being the first ever LGBTQ author in India. So, do you think that romance genre is facing a threat because almost all possible combinations of romance has been already tried upon, has been already spoke of, or is it like no, since humankind is not going to end any soon, it's going to continue for a long time, definitely it is going to, but the scope of romance novels is to what limit, to what extent according to you? You can even add the dimension of LGBTQ as our topic demands, and the cultural norms that we specifically follow in Indian context. So anybody can start. Anyone.
Um, yes, I feel that, as you said, there is a bit of backlash on romance novels these days. The primary reason, according to me, is that there are just too many romance novels.
Exactly.
So, yeah, even though the story may be good, it may be something different. It could be whatever, enemies to lovers, it could have some other plot, but ultimately, how readers look at it is, oh, it is just a romance. Sadly, that is how readers look at it. So even though you put your heart and soul into it and you put a lot of feelings, emotions, and create your characters, romance is facing a backlash because there are too many romance novels currently. And I feel that as romance writers, we can, maybe add a little more plot and little more to the plot and storyline to make it a little bit interesting for the readers and make the book stand out, and not advertise it primarily as a romance. It could be a romance thriller or a medical romance or a rom-com or something like that.
Great, great. That's actually, and even romance thriller would have much more scope, I guess, because nowadays thrillers are getting a lot of acceptance and publicity. So yeah, thank you, Lavanya, for that input. Shuchi, what would you like to add?
So I totally believe that yes, romance is getting a lot of threats, like because I see a lot of people when they write the review or about a romantic romance novel. So I see very negative comments that why don't you guys focus on important events that's happening in the world or in the country. But then these guys also have to understand that, like, if I'm right, if I have chosen the path to become a romance writer, why will I want to write about other events? Because this is something that I have specialized in. So, for instance, to give you an example, if I have given 10 years of my experience and I currently work in specific credit card industry managing the portfolio, so then I will only talk about that aspect of my work. You cannot expect that tomorrow I will go to Supreme Court and start fighting for this. So you have to understand that this person is on that path. He has that specialized expertise on that thing. Okay. And to answer your second question, that personally me as as a romance writer, I also get to understand so many, like I always people ask me that what new can you bring, what is we know a lot of stuff, we have seen everything, but I do not agree to that, because there is a I'm not saying that you, like, I totally understand that maybe you would have understood the plot, you would have understood that what would come next, but as an author you cannot compare the feeling, the emotions that I have put in creating my work and how that work will affect you. It is not there is no comparison. Like, for instance, Chetan Bhagat maybe would have written the same love story, and I have taken an inspiration and I have created my own characters. Maybe the storyline could be parallel, but the feeling that you would get after reading Chetan Bhagat's book and after reading my book would be totally different. So you also have to understand that even though humankind is increasing, there are only limited stories. Like now I cannot, like, we can imagine, but for imagination also there has to be a limit, right? And you don't want to write in such a manner that that doesn't become, like, people are not even able to understand. So for me, my main, I never say that I'm gonna write something really out of this world, or I will create unnecessary plots and twists or not. I do believe I'm a storyteller. I know only, like, limited love story. I am a human. I also have a capacity to, you know, understand the emotions or feel the emotions. And I don't have any superpower. So whatever is known to me, whatever experiences, but I can guarantee you that I will write the story, or I will pull off the story in such a way that you wouldn't have experienced that ever before. For instance, you can find both of my novels, they are very straightforward love stories. And I'm not even claiming that I will give you a very like the most unique love story of the world. No, it's not possible. But I can guarantee you the kind of work that I'm writing, you cannot find in anyone else writing. So that's what I believe.
Exactly.
That
The creative aspect, the
Exactly.
speciality that you hold, your
Yes,
unique selling point. That's what you mean.
yes,
Your
yes, yes,
USP, right?
yeah.
I
So
have
to
one more question from your response. I'll come to that once Reshmi ma'am responds to this. Ma'am, what do
okay.
you think as the mother of an 18 uh, in this
So
Indian?
I think, as Lavanya and Shishi said, it's a very very competitive genre. That's what I have seen, and but I've also seen there are some authors who stand out with their work. They have been writing romance for past couple of years, and as Shichi rightly said, maybe the readers are coming back to their books because they love their her style of storytelling, or they like the characters. Because I can see series, there are some romance authors who come up with series, and they generally put out these reels, okay, the character names, and there are so many comments, oh, we would want to read out what happens to them next, right? So maybe the storytelling, the writing style is what is pulling the readers. And I think romance authors, if they're writing for young adult, I think they need to write responsibly. That is one thing that I would want to say, because just because you want to sell some books, don't don't write things that would just give ideas to the young minds, right? So be very responsible in what you write. And I think it's important that children are being taken, or young adults are being taken to these literature festivals, where they can meet authors and they can understand, what sort of books are getting sold on each of these age appropriate books. Parents also needs to be educated. So yeah, I think when you're writing romance for teens or young adults, I think we should be a little more responsible. That's what I would say.
Exactly. And one question that I had in my mind from Shuchi's response is that I had a doubt actually, okay, because we know that in our society, being emotional or being, what to say, overly into emotions is considered as, what to say, as a negative trait, because we all are in the race to be strong and independent women. Actually, according to me, being strong and independent doesn't mean that you shouldn't have emotions. You should definitely have, you should experience everything. You should have the fear, you should have the soft side, you should have the strong independent side, because so that we can use it whenever you need. So are these romance novels making our children or making our upcoming generation more emotional, and having false expectations, what the Gen Z says, fictional men kind of things? So is it developing such a tendency among the this generation? What do you people think about it?
So, for instance, I believe that there is a difference between what we think and what is actually happening. So, like for example, both of my novels have a male character. His name is Siddharth, and he is very emotional person. I have tried to show his emotions. Both the novels are from his point of view, that how a man feels, like he got into a breakup, betrayal, and I have shown him crying, I have shown him begging the love of his life, I have shown him facing OCD, depression, and struggle. And but like as the character develops, I have also shown that how he has developed, but I have not given him like any extra superpower that, oh, he's Salman Khan, he can jump off the building, or he will start flying just next day. No. So, and like I haven't received any negative feedback that, oh, why are you like, how is it it's possible? We had this fantasy where men are very macho or no. But I personally feel that maybe Gen Z, we feel that they are very cool and they are practical, they have all notion. But I really don't feel that. But generally, I have a lot of friends who are from Gen Z, and I really feel they are like, how would I say, they are those people who are not afraid to show their emotions.
Exactly.
Yes, and they don't care that, and they will be the one who will break all the stereotypes that we have created as like previous earlier generations, and I'm really proud of that. So
Yeah.
I lately, after my launch of this book, I did a lot of tours in India. I did a lot of college shows, and majority of people, every like whomsoever I was meeting was Gen Z. And previously, I used to think that how will I connect with these people, but I was amazed. And the most shocking thing was, I remember I had 5 shows, like events, or you can say author talk in Delhi University. Okay. So my mother, she told me that, okay, like for first college was girls' college. So my mother was telling me, okay, first college was girls' college. Girls are generally nice, they respected and all. Next 4 colleges were mixed co-ed. So my mother specifically told me that you don't know how guys of this age would behave, so be mentally prepared and all. But those guys, I will tell you, they were like, they amazed me. The kind of love, the kind of respect I got from them, and the kind of and we used to talk, like we started talking, and that vulnerability that these guys showed me, they were like, they started asking me that you are from IIM, you have done second MBA from US, can you, we are very scared, we are in third year, can you please guide us, can we do an MBA, you seem to have done CAT. And this is coming from a guy, 22, 23 years man. And I'm still in touch with them. They like, we talk. I gave them my personal number that please connect.
An
Whatever.
actual contrast to what actually male ego
Yes,
is.
yes. So I am like, I do feel that these people are very genuine.
Great, great. Thank you, Shruti. And Lavanya, are you there? Would love to know your opinion about it.
Yeah, I'm audible, right?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah, your question was whether romance novels are, encouraging people to be open about their emotions, correct?
Yeah, becoming emotional.
Um, Honestly, I feel no. It is there is no connection between romance novels and the courage that people have, to express their emotions. Emotions, expressing emotions is something that a person grows up with and sees around him or her, and then reasons out. It's okay to express, not okay to express. There are a lot of factors that come into play here. There are a lot of factors that influence whether or not a person feels bold enough to express their emotions. So I feel, frankly, in that spectrum, romance novels really don't have that much of an impact. Yes, they are encouraging people to be expressive about their emotions. I don't deny that. But I don't think, as such, romance novels have had a very significant impact on people wanting to express their emotions. There are multiple factors at play here. That is my frank opinion.
Great, great. Thank you, Lavanya, for that. And Reshmi, ma'am, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Yeah, so it could be, opening up could be, maybe the story connects, right? It need not be just romance. If a story connects with a particular reader and, you know, they are able to connect with those emotions and they are able to open up, I think any story should be able to make a reader, open up. So I don't, uh, maybe I may be wrong, but I don't specifically think that, okay, romance books would generally help somebody to open up. It could be any story which connects with the reader and, you know, they sort of relate with that character or with that the plot or setting and they feel, it's some, I've seen many, we ourselves when we read certain stories, is it my story, or
Mm,
the
yes.
character feels just like me, right? So if you connect with that story, I think you should be able to open up, you connect with those emotions. So it need not be just romance. That's my take.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, ma'am. I'm not going to extend the session anymore with my questions. Our audience, do they have any questions? Any questions from them? If not, then we might proceed to conclude the session. Kirti, can I?
Still,
Yeah. So, first of all, I would like to thank Kirti for hosting this session. You have done a great job. Thanks a lot for hosting this, and EBC is forever indebted to you for this, and hope we collaborate more. And thanks a lot
thank you.
to Reshmi ma'am, Shuchi, Lavanya, for accepting my invitation and speaking up here, sharing your insights about the topic. I feel that most of you had so many doubts, inhibitions, and hesitations to talk about this topic, but the session went really well. So it's only because of all three of you have coordinated and contributed really well. Hope we collaborate more in future. Before ending, I would like to ask these authors to speak a few lines about their book so that our audience come to know about it. Even YouTube audience can know about it. And uh, there is no clause that I would say if you like this, you can purchase. I would never say that. You can by default go and purchase books by these authors. So, Reshmi, ma'am, can you speak about your books?
Yeah, sure. So my two books, the first book is Megha's Autumn Equation. It's a story about 14-year-old Megha who lives a very comfortable life in Mumbai. She's very bad in maths, so she's put in an uncomfortable position by her principal who asks her to cancel her autumn vacation and instead join a special class, maths class, which is for meritorious girls belonging to the weaker sections of the society. So will Megha survive the maths class forms the crux of the novel. And the second book is The Case Files of Anvesha Krishnamurthy, Mystery of the Missing Friend. It's again a story of 14-year-old Anvesha who is on a thrilling quest to find the truth behind the disappearance of her best friend. Yeah, so these are the two novels.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. You can find
Thank
these
you.
books on Amazon, definitely. And Lavanya,
Yeah, so I've written two books. Both are romance novels. One is called I Prescribe Love. So that is a medical college based romantic comedy. And the second one is called Time and Tide Wait for Love, which got released recently. And that is the time travel based romance, which basically the plot line is that if you were given a chance to travel back in time and undo something in your past, what would you undo and how would that impact the life that you're living today? So, those are my two books, and both are available on Amazon.
thank you, Lavanya. Thanks a lot. Shuchi?
Hello. Yeah.
Yes.
So I have written two novels. First one is called A Million Times Over. It is a love story in the form of poems and little prose, but it will take you through an emotional roller coaster of this guy first love, how first love is. It will take you through a lot of emotions, heartbreak, betrayal, self acceptance, and move on. My second novel, I didn't, when I was writing my second novel, I didn't think, but then it came to my mind that I will show the audience the journey of this person, because I used to receive a lot of DM. What happened with Siddharth? Did he find love? and did he move on and everything. So I just thought, so my second novel, it's a love story about this guy Siddharth, who's an Indian guy. He currently he in the novel he lives in Dubai. He meets a Jordanian woman who's like Arabic and falls in love, and he feels that she's her soulmate, but the lady has some apprehension, and he and then slowly it's about their love story, how they come together and everything, because it will show the cultural differences, because it's inter religion inter like inter country marriage, the family disciple. Then I have also shown the Indian guys stress, mental challenges, and he has set up a very high ambition, that is to go to the US for to one of the best B schools. So that adds another tangent to their love. Like, will they be able to survive a long distance relationship? Will this person uh, go beyond and leave his ambition for the love of his life? So there's a lot of drama around that, and I have tried to add a lot of flavors into it, and that is like what happens currently. Like, people are not just uh, obsessed about love, they are people who are very ambitious as well. So, and in less than 3 weeks my book became Amazon bestseller. Currently we have sold more than 3000 copies. It has gone for a reprint, and we will be going ahead and republishing the first novel again a million times over, where we will be doing little editing. We'll change the cover letter, we'll give a little bit fresh perspective, I will add more prose. So yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Shuchi. Thanks a lot, Rishmi ma'am, Lavanya, Kirti, for your time, and all the listeners out here. Thanks a lot for your time. We really enjoyed this session, and you can watch this session whenever you want on our YouTube channel. And yeah, we have more sessions. We have one more session tonight. It's about publishing industry, writing, and things like that, which will be at 7 p.m. Hearty welcome to everyone who wants to join. And tomorrow also we have two sessions. One session will be of kid bookstagrammers, and another session is on Malayalam literature. So I cannot openly invite everyone for Malayalam literature as such, but do attend bookstagrammers session if you can. Okay, so thanks a lot. Thanks for joining. All the best to all three authors.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
Thank
you. Bye
you.
bye.